What is going on, guys? Thanks for checking out this video, my sports Gematria. In this video, we're going to look over some UFC fights for Saturday, August 13th, 2022. I'm going to show you highlights of each side, and it's going to be up to you to determine who you think will win based on the numbers. I encourage you to add additional information on top of this if needed for you to feel confident in your own pick. And I wish you guys the best of luck on all your picks for this event. Let's go ahead and get into the matches. We're going to be looking at UFC Fight Night, Vera versus Cruz. As of right now on ESPN, they only have 5 fights, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6. Number 5 is going to be added, I assume, sometime before Saturday. So as of right now, we're just going to be looking at these 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's usually 6 fights for a UFC Fight Night. And you can tell with the numbering 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6 that they're going to be adding one more fight, whenever that may be. But we're just going to go ahead and look at the 5 that are here right now. On this side of the screen is what I call my daily numbers, date numerology, Gregorian Hebrew calendar. And then on this side of the screen is what I call my game numbers specific to the game, the way that I have it structured here. Is I have the name of the event up top, the stadium that it's at, the city and the state. Right here is the weight class of the fight. And then I have one fighter right here, his name Gematria, his birthday to and from, his fight record, any type of win or losing streak that he's on, as well as his UFC record. In the middle is the last name head-to-head Gematria. And then at the bottom is the other fighter, his name Gematria, to and from his birthday, his fight record, any type of win or losing streak he may be on, as well as his UFC record. So we're going to be looking at 5 fights in this video. I know there's going to be a 6th one, but just getting an early jump start on here. Let's start with the first fight, shall we? Excuse me. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. All right, starting with the first fight here, we're going to be looking at Gerald Mashara versus Bruno Silva. Forgive me if I pronounced that incorrectly. I know I did. Gerald Mearshart. Well, we're going to be looking at Silva versus Mearshart in this first fight. So, as you can see, I don't have any numbers marked here at all to start with. It's because I haven't really had the time to. I built it out yesterday, but well, I built it out Monday nights. Tuesday. Today I had a job interview at the local newspaper, potentially going to be the next sports writer for the paper here in town, sports writer and photographer. So I didn't get a chance to really go over it just yet. So I'm going to be going over these numbers here in this video. So looking at Bruno Silva and Gerald Mashara. Forgive me for mispronouncing that. So let's look at Gerald. What would be some numbers here to allow Gerald to win this fight? And then we'll look at some numbers here for Bruno Silva to win this fight. Starting with Gerald, 359 days since his birthday. Let's see if that's a number property. 359. 72nd prime number. Okay. Is there any 72s around here? I'm not seeing any. There's a 27 on the board for the date numerology, which is a reflection of 72. But so Gerald, he'd be looking for his 35th win for his career, potentially his 10th UFC win for his career. Okay, so one thing that would go in favor for Gerald, but would go against Bruno Silva, is today marks 31 or a total span of 32 days since Bruno Silva's 33rd birthday. See how that goes? 31, 32, and 33. Well, the 32 is interesting just because potentially he could become 3-2, like 32, for a UFC record with a loss on the 32nd day of his 33-year-old age. That can definitely go against him in that scenario. 6 or 7 days till his birthday. 35. If we write out 35, let's see if it sums to. No, it sums to 128. 142, 61, 28, 56. Nothing jumps out at me. Both lost their last fight. I know if Gerald won and he became 10-7, like 107. 107 is the 28th prime number, but it doesn't really do anything if there's no real 28 connection. 20 also sums to 107, but there's no 20 connection either. You know, I guess there is 18 date numerology. So Gerald, he can get his 35th win for his career. We know 35 written out sums to 61, which is the 18th prime number. Today with 18 date numerology on the Gregorian. I suppose we can go ahead and just mark that 35 in a gray, just as a mental note for ourselves. But outside of that, 6 or 7 days till his 34th birthday. So his 34th birthday is coming up. He does come in with 34 wins. I could go against him potentially. Oh, here's something else. The San Diego 35 written out sums to 142. Just like San Diego sums to 142. That could be another reason why Gerald gets his 35th win for his career. 35 sums to 142. San Diego sums to 142. He gets his 35th win in San Diego, potentially. Other than that, the 28 and 8, just really the 32, 3-2, and then the 35. Outside of that, I'm not seeing a whole lot of numbers here for Gerald. That's just like jumping out at me. Let's switch gears here and look at Bruno Silva. Something interesting about Bruno Silva, he has a lot of 33 connections. So his name, Bruno Silva, sums to 137. He was born on July 13th, 137. 137 mathematically is the 33rd prime number. He's currently 33 years old. 32 days since his 33rd birthday. Gerald is currently 33 years old. And Gerald could get his 16th loss for his career. That could go with the 33 pattern. I say that because 16 comes to 33. And on top of that, it's 6 days, or a total span of 7 days till his 34th birthday. If you write out the number 6, 6 sums to 16. So 6 days till his 34th birthday, he could become 34-16 for a fight record with a loss. 6 written out sums to 16. And then we know 16 sums to 33. He's currently 33 years old. Bruno Silva is currently 33 years old. Bruno Silva sums to 137, the 33rd prime number. And he was born on the 13th of July, 137. So that could be in favor for Bruno. If Bruno becomes 4-1 for a UFC record with a win, Gerald would become 9-8 for a UFC record with a loss. Why does that matter? Well, if you write out the number 41, it sums to 98. So that could be something that goes hand in hand with each other. And then 23, Bruno getting his 23rd win for his career. 23 sums to 134. And it will be the 341st day of the Hebrew Civil, which is just an anagram of 134. But at the same time, it will be the 134th day on the Hebrew religious side. 341, 134, 23 sums to 134. We can just go ahead and mark that a purple color for the Hebrew calendar. And that's what it would look like for both sides on this particular fight. Okay, they both have their little narrative here. That's kind of what I have for right now. Let's move on to the next fight. we're going to be looking at Devin Clark versus Azamat Maurizikanev. So with this fight is interesting because both of these fighters were born on the same day, just 1 year apart. Okay, they're both born on the 12th of April. And what makes that more interesting is that this fight marks the 124th day of both of their age. So both of them are on the 124th day of their age, and they both were born on 12/4, like 124. The only difference is one was born in the 90, one was born in 89, 1 year difference. So I thought that was interesting. But even though that's interesting, I didn't find a 124 connection when it came to a win or a loss. Well, actually, I take that back. Hold on. Okay, so yeah, maybe a 68 connection. So this fight is taking place in Pachanga Arena, if I pronounce that correctly. I can't even pronounce arena names correctly. Pachanga Arena sums to 68. This might be a bit of a stretch, but it sums to 68 where they're fighting at. And if you write out the number 68, it sums to 124, right? 124 day of both these fighters' age. Both of them were born on 12/4, like 124. Fight takes place in Pachanga Arena, which sums to 68. 68 sums to 124. But what's also interesting is that 68 sums to 146 as well. And Devin Clark could become 146 or 146 for a fight record in his career. And then he would become 8-6, like 86 for a UFC record with a win. 86 is just a reflection of 68. So that could be potential for Devin Clark. On top of that, today does have 43 date numerology on the Gregorian, 43 the 14th prime number. It will be Devin's 14th UFC fight where he can get his 14th win for his career. So there is that possibility as well. So that might be the narrative for Devin Clark for this particular one. If we were to look at Azamat on why he could win this fight, well, he comes in at a perfect 11-0. He could become a perfect 12-0. And then he would become a perfect 2-0, like 24 UFC record. Well, Devin Clark, this is his 20th fight for his career. It could transcribe into Azamat become a 2-0, like 20. Devin Clark would get his 7th loss for his career as he becomes 7-7, like 77. 7-7-7, lucky number 777 could go against Devin Clark getting his 7th loss, becoming 7-7. Devin Clark could become 13-7 for a fight record with the loss. 137, the 33rd prime number. He would be facing his opponent Azamat, who's currently 33 years old. The 124th day of his 33-year-old age. Born on 12/4. Both born on 12/4. Both 124 day. This 33 here can transcribe into Devin Clark becoming 13-7, 137, the 33rd prime. Azamat Maurizikanev sums to 228. Clark versus Maurizikanev sums to 228. There's a connection there. Maybe it's a good thing for Azamat. Maybe it isn't. We'll find out. But the 12-0, the 120, the only thing I could really think of is it being the 225th day of the Gregorian. It could be a number connection, 225. 225 has a square root of 15, and Azamat could become 12-0, like 120, if I remember correctly. Yeah, 120 is the 15th triangular number. So 120, the 15th triangular. 225 has a square root of 15. 225th day on the Gregorian. Azamat could become 12-0, like 120. 15 triangular. They have that 15 connection in common. So that's kind of what I have for this fight for both sides. Let's move on to the next one. We have Yasmin Jirogi versus Jasmine. Jasmine Lucindo. Yasmin Jirogi. All right. So if Yasmin was going to win this fight, it'd just be because of her name. Yasmin Lucindo sums to 144. She could become 14-4, like 144 for a fight record in her career with a win. Today has 43 date numerology on the Gregorian, 43 the 14th prime number. She'd be getting that 14th win as she becomes 14-4, like 144. She was born on the 8th day of the year, the Gregorian year. She is looking for an 8th win in a row. She can end Yasmin's 8-fight winning streak. Could be an 8 pattern there. Yasmin Lucindo sums to 144 and 81. She could become 14-4, like 144 with the win. I already mentioned that. But Yasmin could become 8-1, like 81 with the loss. And Yasmin Yugi, she also sums to 81. So they could just become their own names. Yasmin could become 8-1 with the loss. Her name sums to 81. Jasmine could become 14-4. Her name sums to 144. Her name also sums to 81 as well. So it could just be a name Gematria thing between these fighters, which is interesting, I think. But on the flip side, if this is too good to be true, and what we could point towards for Yasmin is today does have 63 date numerology on the Gregorian. 63 sums to 153. Anagram of 135. Jasmine could become 13-5 for a fight record with a loss. That can go against her. Yasmin, it's the 218th day of her current 20-year-old age. The 218 could go against her, potentially. That's Squid Game numbers, the last sacrifice. A perfect 9-0. Let's look at 90. 90 sums to 37, or 33, excuse me. It will be the 167th. Okay, so the 9 could be, so watch this. 167th day of her 23-year-old age. This will be a day with 167 date numerology on the Hebrew civil side of the calendar. So let's go ahead and mark that a cantaloupe color. But it'll be the 167th day of her 23-year-old age. 23 mathematically is the 9th prime number. So that could be the reason why she gets her 9th win in a row. She becomes 9-0 for her career. So mark that in a dark blue. 23, the 9th prime. Born in the year 99. So it's either going to be the name Gematria for these two fighters, which kind of feels a little too good to be true. But it could happen. And if it is too good to be true, it could just be Yasmin, 23-year-old age, the 9th prime, getting that 9th in a row. Jasmine, the 13-5 on the day with 63 date numerology, 63 sums to 153, anagrams of each other. It could be something a little bit more indirect like that. Young fighters here, 23 years old and 20. So young fighters. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Let's go to the co-main event. Nate Landwehr versus David Onama. So I don't have any numbers marked here for this fight as well. But let's just kind of go through it. see if we can find something for David. If David was going to win this fight, if David Onama, aka Obama, was going to win this fight, one thing I thought was interesting is that he's born on 6/7. 6/7, and it's 67 days since his birthday. 67, born on 6/7. Total span of 68 days. And Nate, he was born one day before David. He was born on 6/6, 68, or a total span of 69 days. So it's very fascinating, these fights and the birth dates that are with some of these fights, like the 12 and 4, how they're both 33 years old. So these birthdays for some of these fights just are interesting. So Nate and David, born one day apart. Well, born a couple years apart, but their birthday is one day apart. And David, if he was going to win this fight, he can get his 11th win for his career as he becomes a 3-1, like 31 for a UFC record. 31 is the 11th prime number. He can get his 11th win for his career as he becomes 3-1, like 31 the 11th prime. For Nate, this is his 5th UFC fight for his career. He can get his 5th loss for his career. There's potential for that for sure. This fight is taking place in Pechanga Arena, which sums to 257. 257 mathematically is the 55th prime number. He can get his 5th loss for his career in his 5th UFC fight. 5'5", like 55. Oh, I forgot to put the numbers for the weight class. 35, 72. $16.63. Going back to the 11, it having 63 date numerology as well as 27 date numerology. David can get his 11th win for his career as he becomes 3-1 for a UFC record, 31 the 11th prime. If you write out the number 11, it sums to 63 and 27. Today with 27 and 63 date numerology on the Gregorian. So that can also be, I could just go ahead and mark that in the gray, just as a reminder to myself. There's a Hebrew, or excuse me, a Gregorian connection as well. And also for Nate, him getting his 5th loss for his career in his 5th UFC fight in Pechanga Arena, 257, the 55th prime. If that were to happen, he would become 2-3 for a UFC record with a loss to go with, kind of like the number 23. 23 sums to 55. And we also already talked about the 134 number as well. It being the 134th day of the Hebrew religious side, the 341st day of the Hebrew civil side. They're just anagrams of each other. So we can actually mark this a purple. And that's what it would look like for David. If we were going to do Nate as the winner, if Nate was going to win this fight, it's 68 days since his 34th birthday. This fight taking place in Pechanga Arena, 68. We'll mark this in a light blue. 68 days from his birthday. And we already kind of went over this connection in the other fight. 68 written out. 68 written out sums to 146. And Nate could become 16-4 for a fight record with the win. 164 is just an anagram of 146. And 102. David, he can end his 2-fight winning streak as Nate gets his 2nd win in a row, as David becomes 2-2, like 22 for a UFC record with a loss. It could be a 22-2 pattern. Let's write out 102. 102 sums to 67. So this could be what goes against David potentially. David was born on 6/7. It's 67 days since his birthday. Total span is 68. I'm going to mark that in light blue. 68, 68, 68. Could become 16 and 4. But the 67 could go against David to go along with it. 67, born on 6/7, like 67. 102 sums to 67. He could become 10 and 2, like 102 for a fight record in his career with a loss. And so that'd be those guys' numbers right there. Moving on to the main event, we have Dominic Cruz versus Marlon Vera. So we've seen this number a few times. Dominic Cruz sums to 146. We know this is in Pechanga Arena. Sums to 68. 68 written out sums to 146. We've already been over that 2 different times on 2 different fights. Well, this could be the 3rd fight it comes up in. Why? Because Dominic Cruz sums to 146 and Marlon Vera could become 14 and 6 for a UFC record with a win, like 146. This is Marlon Vera's 20th UFC fight for his career. He can get his 20th win for his career. For Dominic Cruz, it's the 158th day of his current 37-year-old age, and he could become 7 and 3, like 73, for a UFC record with a loss. If you write out the number 73, 73 sums to 158. It being the 158th day of his current age. 157, or total span of 158. 157 is the 37th prime number. He's currently 37 years old. He could become 7 and 3, which is just a reflection of 37. 73 sums to 158. 157, or total span of 158 days since his 37th birthday. It seems pretty straightforward with the 146, the 146 here, and the 73. Seems pretty straightforward. 20th UFC fight, gets his 20th win for his career. However, with that being said, if Dominic Cruz is or may be attending to upset here, this is his 28th fight for his career. He could become 8 and 2, like 82 for a UFC record with a win. 82 and 28 are just reflections of each other. He can get his 25th win for his career. He could become 2-5 and 3. Like 253, the 22nd triangular number. Not 100% sure where the 22 connection would come in at, but it is the 22nd triangular number. It is something to keep in mind. There could be something there. On top of that, 22. Well, this could be the connection. 22 sums to 165, and it is the 16th day of the 5th month for the Hebrew religious, like 165. So I'm just going to go ahead and mark this a purple, just to remind myself that it's the 22nd triangular and 22 sums to 165. It is the 16th day of the 5th month for the Hebrew religious, like 165. What else? What else? Marlon Vera could become 13 and 7 for a UFC record with a loss. 13-7 or 137 is the 33rd prime number. He would end his 3-fight winning streak as Dominic Cruz gets his 3rd win in a row. 3 and 3, like 33. Could become 13 and 7, the 33rd prime. There's potential for that. 19-8 and 1. I don't think that has number properties. 19-8-1. No number properties, which is a 27 and 1. Number properties. Um, 62nd prime. UFC Fight Night, Vera versus Cruz sums to 122. Marlon Vera was born on 12/2, like 122. Don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but there is a connection there for it. I think that's it for right now. what I have. Got a couple more days. I'll just continue to look over it. And we still got one more fight for them to add. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. They're going to add one more. I'm not going to do another video, but when they add the other fight, I'll go ahead and build it out for my Patreon page for the picks. But this is what I have for right now for these fights. You know, Marlon Vera could be that 14-6, that 146, that 73, 158, or Dominic Cruz can get that 253, the 22nd triangular number, and just 3-fight winning streak, gets his third win in a row, like 33. Marlon could become 13-7, 137 to 33rd prime. Nate, he can get that 164. We talked about this could be the 68 days, 164, 68 sums to 146 anagrams. Or it could be David with the 11 and the 31, the 11th prime. Yasmin and Jasmine. We know that 23 is the 9th triangular or 9th prime number. Yasmin can get her 9th win in a row potentially. Or at the same time, it could just be a name Gematria thing. Yasmin sums to 81. She could become 8-1 with the loss. Jasmine sums to 144. She could become 14-4 with the win. Could be a name thing. Devin Clark, he has the 14s on his side potentially. 14th win in his 14th UFC fight on 43-date numerology, 43 the 14th prime. But Azamat could still become perfect, at perfect 2-0, like 120. Devin could get the unlucky 7-7-7, 7th loss as it becomes 7-7. Bruno Silva, Gerald, Mashara, 32nd day of his age, could become 3-2 for UFC record with the loss. 137, 137, 33, 33. Gerald can get his 16th loss for his career, 16 sums to 33. 23 sums to 134. Bruno can get his 23rd win on the 134th day of the Hebrew. Gerald can get his 35th win on a day with 18-date numerology. 35 sums to 61, the 18th prime. So, you know, there's numbers here for both sides, of course. Just kind of go over them, add more to them, like I say, to help you feel more confident in your picks. I really appreciate you guys watching this video. I really appreciate the support. Smash the like button, leave a comment below. It helps with the algorithm. And I really hope you guys win all the money in the world. I really thank you for watching this video. I really appreciate the support. And I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much.